there, everybody. I am playing along with Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life today. We're going to be working with this sketch. If you have not ever heard of Christy or her amazing 30 Days of Sketches video series, definitely go check out her channel. I will be sure to link it below. I am using my very last piece of speckled tone cardstock today from the Cardstock Warehouse. Definitely time to order more. And I'm going to start with some splatters. So you saw the sketch there, and I'm going to alter the sketch just a little bit in the placement of my embellishments. I'm also going to alter the sketch, and then I'm going to add some stamping and some mixed media to my background. I'm going to be playing with the amazing Cozy Days collection from Simple Stories. I'm kind of obsessed, but, well, you know what? I just love it. I love this collection. I love it. It's the featured collection that I am working with for a cherry on top for October, and I have so many layouts planned and so many layouts I want to do with it. So I'm going to try to squeeze them all in into the end of the month. So I'm splattering using Little Yellow School Bus, Peachy Keen, and Glorious Days, all from Shimmers. Next up, I want to work on these strips of paper that are in this sketch. I've chosen 2 sheets of paper, which gives me 3 patterns because I have the B-sides. And so each one of these, I'm going to cut 1 3-inch strip, 1 2-inch strip, and 1 2.5-inch strip. I just kind of decided that that would give me the width I wanted once I had them all layered up. So that's just what I did. It just worked for me. There isn't dimensions or anything on the sketch. You can kind of just eyeball it yourself. But that way I knew I would have a good amount of each pattern. You would be able to see each pattern in the finished layout, but I would also have the ability to kind of overlap them without losing a pattern. So I did end up using most of this gingham sheet of paper, as you can see here, because I used the E side and the B side, and that's okay. So next up, what I'm going to do is I want to add some zhuzh to my strips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my very trusty little distress tool, and I'm going to take my always in use Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to cut a little bit off the end of each of these strips. Again, didn't measure them, and I tried to make it so that I wasn't cutting the same amount off of all 3 of them. And then for all 6 of these strips, they're going to get a nice distressing, and then they're going to get some vintage photo Distress Oxide ink on the edges, just to give them a little bit of a different texture and a little bit of color. Now, I did not put any Distress Oxide on the blue. I did go ahead and rough up the edges, but then I just left it white. I don't really like the brown ink on blue papers, but at the same time, I kind of need the brown ink on some of the other colors just because of the way this particular collection is designed and the color palette. I love that pop of blue, but I don't like it with the Distress Oxide, so I just leave it off of those strips. Next, I'm going to go ahead and kind of decide how I want these strips to go, and what this is going to help me do is it's going to help me to get the stamping where I want it. So it's going to be able to give me the right positions for my stamps. You can see over to the side I have 4 different colors of ink: sage, shea butter, green tea, sandcastle, and then I'm also going to pull in just a little bit of Tutti Frutti. And I have a set of stamps from Avery L. These are from my stash. They're a number of years old, so I don't have a lot of information on them other than they're Avery L stamps, and they have pretty fall leaves. So you can see here what I'm doing. I want to add the different elements of this stamp set into the into this, like, on top of where I have the splatters. So some of these stamps I haven't even used yet. Some I have. I'm just going to add some of these stamped images into this area. I'm also going to stamp a kind of separate area. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I must have gotten lost, or maybe someone was talking to me. I'm also going to stamp a little cluster up here just to kind of balance out. So I kind of have this cluster that's in the top right area of my photo, and then I have a cluster that's at the bottom left, and then I'm gonna have this cluster that's kind of like up by my photos up in that top area, and that'll give me my 3 embellishment clusters. So these will be a base. These stamped parts will be a base for my embellishments. And you can see here what I'm doing. I'm picking a stamp, I'm picking a color, I'm stamping it all over the place into those areas, and then kind of wiping the stamp off on the baby wipe. Once I have all of the stamped pieces the stamped images the way that I like them, I am going to go ahead and add these strips then. And I'm sticking fairly closely to the sketch. So a couple of things I did differently. I added the splatters and the splatters and the stamping to the background. Not really mixed media because it's really just ink and stamping, maybe, but it's kind of just one media. And then I am going to also, the embellishments were kind of, I felt a little unbalanced on the sketch, like they just didn't appeal to my eye. So once I have these kind of cross patterns together, I'm gonna do my own thing with the way the embellishments are. And the only one I liked was the idea of having something that kind of went over both the photos and bridged that gap between them. So I am gonna do that. I decided I needed a little bit more contrast, so I needed my photo to kind of pop up off of all of those backgrounds, all those other patterns. So I chose this green. There's green in my photo, and I thought that it would kind of separate it a little bit from the busier backgrounds. And I'm also going to use some foam tape and pop both of my photos up to give them a little bit of dimension. So, fun fact. Last weekend, so I live in Pennsylvania, and we're having the most amazing fall in the history of ever. The colors are gorgeous. We've had these beautiful warm days. So last weekend, my very favorite photographer, I was able to book a session with her because I adore her, and we had some family photos taken and photos with my sister taken, and she sent them to me today, and I literally was like, I need to print at least one of these out and scrapbook it today. So I did. So these are brand new photos, and you're gonna see more of them. I think I ended up with 80 that I want to scrapbook. Yeah, 80. And you guys know me, I only put 1 or 2 pictures on a page. So there's going to be lots of photographs. That's okay, though. Generally speaking, that happens. Usually fall, if not every year, every other year, we get a session with my favorite photographer, and we get family photos, and I scrapbook them in their own album all by themselves. It's been 2 years since we had our last family photos taken. Those were part of Morgan's senior session, so that was 2 years ago. So we were due, and these photos are definitely going into an album all by themselves, and you will see lots and lots and lots of family photos coming up. I decided that I want to put these little phrase stickers across this area to bridge that gap. So this is one of the photos that the photographer took, and then the second photo, the square photo, is just a photo that I took after we were done taking pictures. We were actually on our way out, and it was so beautiful where we took the pictures that I went ahead and grabbed this little photo, and I did put it on my Instagram, and I decided I would pair it simply because it wasn't a rectangle, and I needed a square photo for the sketch, and I really thought about adding just like one of the 4x4 square cut apart pieces, but I was like, no, 2 photos, at least get 2 photos on this page. So I grabbed that one that was taken when we had the photos. I decided to use this as my title. I'm going to probably be reusing titles like this because they occur multiple times all through this collection. And I'm going to use a lot of these fun foam thickers. I love them. So I pulled some flowers out that I thought really went with the colors and were just super adorable. And I'm going to kind of scatter them around. And then, so part of me wants to be done. Part of me wants to add more. So I give myself permission to add one more little thing to this layout, and that's going to be some Nuvo drops. I'm just kind of roughing up the edges, making sure we've got some good texture. My photos are popped up, so I can definitely like let these papers kind of curl up and around. So I'm going to grab my Nuvo drops in Copper Penny, which is this beautiful like coppery orangey color. I just am loving this one. This one, and there's another peachy one I have that I've just been adoring for fall. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop some little drops for something that's a little different, you know, not paper, although there's very little paper on this because I did use the foam thickers, I did use stamping, I did use ink. I didn't put any die cuts, and there's just those 3 phrase stickers. So really, that's all we have on this page. But this is going to be the last little bit to this layout. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to head over and check out Christy's layout as well. And I will see you all again very soon, probably with more of these gorgeous fall photos and the Simple Stories Cozy Day collection. So you all have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.